So think of this as a pit stop. What do you need to do in this pit stop in order to make sure that when you come out on the other side, you're going to accelerate even faster than you ever were before?
Welcome to the 7-day weekend.
Right, so let's get going. So first and foremost, let me ask please for a hand raise. No, I don't mean, don't raise your hand yet. What I mean is, at the moment, the more people I'm speaking to, I'm getting the impression that there's no sort of middle ground at the moment. People are either feeling one way or they're feeling another way. So my big question first and foremost, I'm going to ask for everybody on the call just to raise their hand if they're feeling absolutely fine at this moment in time. Nice and calm, absolutely fine. If that's you, raise your hands. Okay, all right, okay, interesting. I'm not going to share the results with you just yet, but let's lower your hands. And if you're feeling either mildly worried or complete panic somewhere in that sort of area, then please raise your hand as well. Okay, all right, okay. Just wanted to really kind of get an impression as to how people are feeling at this moment in time. So I'm going to share with you then, if that's okay, that the majority of people on this call are feeling somewhere between worry and complete enough to panic at this moment in time, okay? So look, I'm really hoping that by one of the aims for this call today is that by the end of it, we can start to move away from that kind of feeling and get into some real practical actions and maybe change your mindset a little bit as to how you're feeling right now. So let's get started. Okay, so we've got, I'm just going to say one thing right from the get-go here. You know, there's been a bit of misadvertising here. We said that there's going to be 11 steps. Actually, there's more than 11 steps. I started getting this presentation together last weekend, and as you probably know, things are moving pretty quickly out there at the moment, so things are changing very rapidly, and it's quickly migrated into a lot more than 11 steps. Now, we've got about an hour together here now, and I do want to open this up and keep it interactive. But we've got an awful lot of stuff to get to. And I want to say right from the get-go, this is not going to be the only webinar that we are going to be doing. We're actually going to be doing a webinar every single week, and we're also going to be doing planning sessions as well for the foreseeable future to help as many people as possible. Because you know what? You're going to get this as the theme throughout this presentation. Let's replace panic with planning. Because panic is something that's happening inside your head. Planning is something that happens on paper. And anything that you've got going on in your head, I absolutely promise you, it is going to be an awful lot better if you get it out onto paper. So let's get started. Here are my steps that I really think you need to take. Step one is communicate. In a crisis like this, you can't over communicate. You guys, I'm hoping that we've got leaders on the call here today. But what I'm looking for is, everybody needs to step up as a leader. Even if you aren't leading teams at this moment in time, the more leaders that we have out there, the better we're going to be. Show your strengths and conviction. The leader's role is to keep people safe. There's a brilliant book. And by the way, right now in this time in history, there's never been a better time for you to start reading more books. Okay, I'm going to be recommending some books for you today, but I promise you, reading books, number one, they're going to take your mind off of things. Number two, it means you're going to have less time to listen to gossip, speculation, and over listening to news. And number three, really importantly, you're going to learn more. So first book I want to recommend to you is Readers Eat Last by Simon Sinek. And I want you to think, every person that you see at this moment in time has got imprinted on their forehead the letters fish, which means make me feel important, safe, and happy. If you can imprint that on everybody's forehead and make that your focus, imagine if we all do that right now. How is that going to go? Surely that is going to be a better way for us to be going about. Just think about other people. Make me feel important, safe, and happy. If you can do that, you're going to be a great leader, and you're going to help other people, and they're going to help you too. As I said, you can't over communicate right now. People will be worried. Some may be in panic mode. communicating well and communicating often. And really by often, I mean daily, guys. Absolutely, keep communicating daily. Because, you know, the thing that we can't do at this moment in time is we can't predict what is going to happen in the future. We can think about different scenarios that might happen in the future and plan for those different types of scenarios so that we can adjust as things change. But really, the only thing that we can control is what is in the now. And we need to be focusing on, I mean, I know you've probably heard people saying this all the time. We just got to take each day as it comes. But let's plan each day as it comes as well. So also communicate every single day. Use all the different technologies available to communicate with your team, with your customers, your networks on social media. Any best practice that you're hearing, share it with everybody else. Good news stories, even funny stories, anything to help lift people's spirits at this moment in time. Your suppliers is absolutely vital that if you feel you need to slow down payments, that you communicate and negotiate with your suppliers. You've got to communicate with them. You can't run away from these things. You can't run away from your obligations, and it's not advisable for all of us to stop paying for things. If we all stop paying for things, we're all going to fall over. So we need to be really careful about what we're paying for, but we also need to be really compassionate and make sure that we realize it's not all about us. No, and the worst thing for us to do at this moment in time is to be selfish. So start thinking about, you know, do you need to be communicating more often? Who do you need to pick up the phone to immediately when we finish this webinar today? I'm absolutely certain that if you communicate with all your stakeholders calmly and professionally, you will be afforded a good deal of help and compassion. I believe that that is what most people are like. So I'm sure that if you do it in a professional way and with your own compassion as well, then I'm sure that you're going to be afforded the same. Lastly, your community. You know what? The best attitude in this scenario is to think about how can you help other people, okay? So this is so important to get this over. In a crisis, that's exactly what we need to be thinking. How can I help other people? So right now, in your question boxes, just give me your answers. Why do you think it is the best attitude to have at this moment in time? Why is it the best attitude to have to help other people? In your question boxes, please. Or maybe not in your question boxes, maybe in your chat boxes. Okay, so we've got Give Us Gain. Give Us Gain is the philosophy of the world's #1 networking organization. And the philosophy is, if you want anything in this world, the more you help other people, the more you can have for yourself, okay? It's as simple as that. But if we all have the attitude that we're going to give, then everybody is going to help each other. What goes around comes around. I love this from Laura, to provide escapism and distraction. Absolutely. When you're in a crisis, when you're focusing on how can you help other people, you're not focusing inwardly on, or, you know, worrying all about yourself, you know. And the point is, if we all help each other, you're going to get it back to you in absolute spades. Building trust, cementing relationships for the future when things cover, absolutely vital. You know, one of the things that we're going to be talking about today is retaining your customers. And the formula for retaining customers are results multiplied by relationship. Now, right at the moment, in this moment in time, some of you might be having a challenge with providing limited amount of results for your clients, but you can definitely continue to build relationships. Spreading positivity. We all have different areas of expertise that we can share with each other. Absolutely. You know what? We're all going to learn shed loads from this particular moment in history. I've got on here as well, not give us gain, give us give. Fantastic, Lottie. That is the philosophy. Just give and give and give, and don't worry about what's coming back to you, because I promise you, the more you give, the more it will come back. And we've got compassion is infinite. Everybody and everyone is feeling that right now. Absolutely, completely agree with you. You know, let's have a mindset of abundance and not scarcity, and that's really going to help us get through it. So fantastic, guys. We've started off really positively here today, and I thank you for your positivity on this call. So let's have a look at the next step. It is all about being positive. Now, I may have chosen potentially one of the worst quotes to put up there for you at this moment in time. However, I do think it's important to understand what we're talking about here, okay? So, panic and worry never helps. I had this debate last Friday with a number of people that came to a mindset session that I was doing. And you see, the thing is, when I'm talking about panic and worry in particular, you know, the point is, if we have a problem and we can't do anything about it, why worry? If we have a problem and we can do something about it, let's do the things that we can do about it. But if we can do something about it, then why worry? Worry doesn't actually help. Concern maybe over the things, or being conscious of the things that you can do to control or influence your situation, well, that's a different thing. But really, you know, what I want to stress is, let's replace panic with plan, because if you do that, you get your thoughts out onto paper. If you have some actions that you can take, at the very least, you're going to be distracting yourself from all the outside worries. At the very least, I personally believe that right at this moment in time, I think we don't want to be taking a little bit of action. We need to be taking massive action. And massive action will get you through this, not only in your mind, but also you will find not everything you're going to do. Let me promise you this, not everything you're going to do over the next 90 days is going to work. But the more action you take, the more chance you've got of finding stuff that actually does work. So please don't panic. 90-day plan is probably the starting point, okay? Because, you know, we have no idea how long this thing is going to last. But if you look at China, you know, our best guess, China seems to be coming out of this. They're celebrating no cases yesterday or today, I think. And the point is this, you know, if they are coming out of it, we're talking about a 90-day cycle here, okay? So we need a 90-day plan. But also, the next most important plan is our daily plan. Don't forget the power that there is in writing down how you feel rather than just internalizing it. And really, guys, you've got to see the situation as it is and not worse than it is. See, the challenge is that sometimes we can see it worse than it is because there's stuff we're hearing. And some of the stuff we're hearing, we need to hear because it's instruction that we're being given. And some of the stuff that we're hearing is way more than we need to be hearing, okay? So on here, I've said sometimes less news is better. Just maybe restrict the amount of news you're listening to. I'll come to that again in a minute. What we've also got to do as well is not see the situation as it is, not worse than it is, and then visualize the way that you want it, and then make it the way you want it. And even if you're just making it the way you want it in a plan, right for now, that's probably going to be enough. And then as long as you're taking actions from that plan, then I think you're going to be okay. So listen, it's possible that you might have to adapt to survive or exploit this new cycle. So think, where are the opportunities? I'm not necessarily saying that you need to go out and sell toilet paper, but think about where the opportunities might be out there right now. You might need to pivot your business in some way in order to survive this and possibly even to exploit some opportunities. Even if these things are temporary, you know, what resources do you currently have to offer? Even if it's help and advice. I mean, one of the things that we noticed that we've got a couple of vans. And nobody's using those vans at the moment. And guess what? We're going to need more vans on the road at the moment. We need more deliveries. Think about you and your business. What resources might you have that, you know, you could redeploy or use in a different way or aren't being used at the moment that you could use? Can you hire your team out to folk doing home delivery? Can you offer cleaning and sanitation services? Pivot. In other words, get entrepreneurial. Success leaves clues. Who's doing well in this crisis and how can I support them? Try and be the most positive person that you know. Ask, how can we win, not how will we lose? You see, when you ask yourself a better question, you're going to find your positivity will massively increase. Just ask yourself those questions. How can we win, not how are we going to lose? So in your chat box, see, the thing is, there's many things at this moment in time that you and I, none of us can actually control or even influence, okay? But there is one thing, absolutely certain, there is one thing that you can control and influence. So in your question boxes, please, what's the one thing that you absolutely can control or influence right now? Absolutely, everybody has got this absolutely spot on. Your mind, your attitude, your mindset, attitude, how I react or how I respond. Exercise, I've got it down here. Yeah, great thing to do. Stay hydrated. Put some self-care in place. Do some exercise. My thoughts. Absolutely, totally. You are the one thing that you actually do have control or influence over at this moment in time is your mindset, your thoughts, your attitudes. And then, you know, your thoughts and your attitudes will lead to your actions as well. But start with your mindset. That's the thing that you can control or influence. Great book for you. It's called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And it's a pretty harrowing book, but in that book, Viktor Frankl talks about how he and other people managed to get through Auschwitz. And, you know, that's a pretty tough time. I think you can agree. But they had got themselves through Auschwitz because the only thing that the Nazis couldn't control or influence was their mindset. So yes, that is the one thing that you can control. And, you know, that's the one thing that I would spend a lot of time focusing on. I'll give you some ideas about how you can do that. In fact, I'm going to do a whole webinar on that stuff as well, because, you know, I got the impression when hands went up earlier on that is something that would be really valuable for you. So if you feel that it might be valuable in a week or so's time for me to do a webinar on making sure that you're staying positive, your mindset, actions and activities that you might be able to do to get yourself through this, just from a thoughts point of view. If you could just raise your hand so I could see a poll, if that would be of interest to you. Okay, guys, clearly that is something that is going to be valuable. So I'll make sure, I'll consult with the team afterwards and we'll make sure that we get a webinar up and running for you in the next week or so to get you through that kind of stuff. As I said, be the most positive that you could possibly be and try and be the most positive person that you can. Outdo everybody. Right now is not the time to worry about being pilloried for being too positive. Let's be honest. Okay, so life goes on, guys. You know, focus on what you want as well, rather than what you don't want. Your mind's going to struggle to process those negatives. It's going to struggle to process what you don't want. So really focus on what you do want rather than what you don't. Reduce the negative shit in your life by listening to the news and hearsay and rumor and gossip. You know, one of the worst Chinese viruses is Chinese whispers, okay? These urban myths that have been going around. I actually had somebody say to me the other day with absolute 100% conviction that a friend of the friend who was in the army had told him, and by the way, you're not allowed to tell anybody else this, a friend of a friend told him that who was in the army that we were going to be on lockdown by the end of Wednesday. And that was last Wednesday. So just be really careful about what you're listening to at the moment. You know, it's if you can limit some of that news, then really do, and just try and go for the positive stuff and nothing else. Listen, what's really important as well is you've got to be the leader. Lead your people, and even if you're not the leader in your business, if that's not your role, you're still a leader. We're looking for leaders in this crisis, and everybody needs to be a leader and step up. And that means you have a responsibility to make people feel important, safe, and happy. Okay, know the cycles. Business has cycles every single year. It is a fact of life. There are always cycles in business. Now, I know because of the successes, the recent successes of so many of the clients that I've been working with, that 2020 and the back end of 2019, but particularly the beginning of 2020, for many of us has been a summer. You know, it was a great start to the year for many, many people. And I know that it's incredibly frustrating that something like this comes out of the blue and attacks us, and we weren't ready for it, or we weren't even expecting it, okay? But what this means is, after a summer, the Americans call it a fall. We've had a fall. The stock market has fallen. Some businesses have already fallen off a cliff, and orders have been cancelled, and things have been postponed, and things have been put on hold. So definitely we are in fall right now. And after fall comes the winter. And but one thing I'm pretty damn sure about is that this winter is not going to be anywhere near as long as it has been before. It could be a lot shorter than usual. It's certainly not going to be as bad as the winter that we had in 2008, because there's no systemic problem with the economy. And of course, after winter, there will be a spring. In other words, a bounce back. Now, winter, guys, is not a time to hibernate. It is a time to prepare. It's time to plant the seeds and learn to grow personally, to work on the business rather than in it. Remember, the goal for all of us really is to create a commercial, profitable enterprise in business that can work without us. Now, this requires you to systemize your business. It's a bit like writing a book. You only need to write it once and then you get paid forever. And imagine the hourly rate for that. I want you to think about this for a moment in time. Okay, let's just think about this, because if you spend a good deal of your time working on your business over the next 90 days, how much progress could you make in it? Because, you know, a business, well, let me ask you this question. In your question box, what are the benefits to systemizing your business? Just put in your question box, what are the benefits to systemizing your business? Because many of you are going to have a little bit more time in your hands to do the systemization. Absolutely. We've got efficiencies in the checkbox. We've got creating more time for me. You can spend more time, excuse me a second, spend more time working on it rather than in it. Yep. Saves time, better productivity, removing human error. Yes, so mistakes going forward, freeing up your time to work on the most valuable tasks, knowing what your goals and achievements are, less stress for me and my staff. Systems create less stress and they provide you with more time, more ideas. Guys, you're absolutely right, but those are only the mechanical things, okay? Systemizing your business, let's think about this. If your business is systemized, it gives you the opportunity for you and your team members to find it much easier to run that business. And that business could potentially run without you. Now, if that business is running without you and it gives you passive income, and let's say that passive income is £100,000 for the rest of your life, and let's say that's 40 years, that's £4 million worth of value that you've created by working on your business. In other words, I know that many of you may have a lower hourly rate. In other words, the rate that you're being paid for the work that you're doing over the next 90 days, but the hourly rate for working on your business is the highest hourly rate that you're ever going to make. Because if it's £4 million worth of value you've created and you spend 100 hours doing it, that's £40,000 per hour. So think about it. You're going to have an opportunity to really work on some of those things that you haven't had time to get around to doing, and that's got to be a good thing. So watch China in the next 2 weeks, guys. It looks like they're going to be coming out of the curve, which means that it's probably been a 3-month cycle for them, as I said before. Now, we should be better prepared. I don't know how long this thing is going to last, but we should be better prepared and learn from the mistakes of others. And if we do what the PM is saying that we should be doing, he's talking about, again, 12 weeks. So we're talking about that 90-day cycle. So this cycle should be a lot shorter than it has been before. And what I really think we should be doing is planning this 90 days really, really carefully. So I'm offering an extraordinary 90-day business planning session on webinar next Friday at 9 a.m. It could be the most important plan that you have ever made in your business. So please register for this straight after, and let's get you through this. So the thing is as well that coming out of that cycle, we need to be ready for opportunities when we come out of it. There may be competitors that go under, there may be other business opportunities that will be available. There will be clients looking for new service, and there will be a bounce back. People will be keen to get back to business as usual, just for your regular business now. So be prepared to be busy when you get out of this. Property might be readily available and cheap as well. And how can you just ask yourself this question over and over again: how can you come out of this phase stronger, not weaker, leaner, faster, and focused? If your business is leaner and faster and more focused when you come out of this, that has got to be a good thing. Now, your normal cycles of business are every 7 to 10 years. This has changed the game for us slightly, but the point is, even without the coronavirus, we are going to go through seasons in our businesses. And this is just one season that has been enforced on us, and it's going to be a short, sharp shock, but it will get better. Remember, this too shall pass. Next step 4, you got to change. Absolutely, you have to change. Getting ahead. So here's the thing, we might need to pivot. The basics of business are vital at this moment in time. Think supply and demand. Don't wait to see what happens. Get ahead of the curve. Got to be proactive and take action now, but not in panic, with a plan. You know, take your time to be thinking about the things that you need to be doing. Don't do it in a rush. Don't do it in a panic, but be considered about it. Sit down and make the plan. That's going to be the most important thing. You see, the formula for change I've put up on here, which is D times V plus F needs to be greater than R. Those of you who haven't worked with me before, let me explain. D stands for dissatisfaction. V stands for vision. See, the only two things that motivate human beings are moving away from pain or avoidance of pain and moving towards pleasure or a vision of something better. So, don't wait for your dissatisfaction to be at the maximum before you actually move. There may be resistance to moving at this moment in time because you don't know what's going to happen. But the best thing to do is plan for those different scenarios, sit down, think about the different scenarios, create a plan for those different scenarios, but only do what's facing you right now. So you don't know if supplies are going to run out. Okay, so at the moment, as best we know it today, things aren't going to run out. So don't be planning 90 days ahead to say things are going to run out don't be planning today that things are going to run out, but be planning what happens in 90 days if things do run out. Now, the other thing as well is that if you make a shift to a leaner, faster business right now, I want you to think of this like it is a pit stop. So you're in a Formula One race. What's the purpose of a pit stop? So think about that for a second. In a Formula One race, what's the purpose of a pit stop? In your question box, what's the purpose of a pit stop? Why do we have a pit stop in a Formula One race? Refuel, recharge, reset, resupply, so that you can keep on going in the long run, to sharpen the saw, fix what's broken, new tires, refresh performance. You're absolutely right. But here's the thing, guys. It's actually so that when you come out of the pit stop, you can go faster. The guys on Formula One, they get out of the race and get into the pit stop because they started slowing down. They can go faster for longer. Okay, so think of this as a pit stop. What do you need to do in this pit stop in order to make sure that when you come out on the other side, you're going to accelerate even faster than you ever were before? There are opportunities here for you to really look at the stuff that you need to do working on your business so that when you come out of this, you're doing things completely differently. And that includes new marketing strategies, new sales strategies, new systems to make your business more efficient. It may even mean new team members. But at the end of the day, guys, these things need to be broken down. And this is where I'm going to help you with that plan. If you can make it next week to that plan, Friday, 9 till 1 o'clock, it's 4 hours, it's online. I have collaborated with 1,000 coaches worldwide to come up with a plan for this eventuality. And we're going to put this in place with you next Friday. If you can make it, please, please, please be there. Think about diversification. What opportunities is there? What other products can we sell? How can we sell our current products differently, maybe? So, is it going to be home delivery? Is it going to be a completely different business model? They say if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But you might need to break a few things now in order to be able to rebuild quickly. Also think about where are those areas? Who are those businesses that are actually doing well throughout this? And is there anything that you can service them with? Next, cut back. At this moment in time, guys, cash is absolutely king. Cash flow forecast. If you don't do a cash flow forecast, when would now be a good time to start doing cash flow forecasting? And by the way, the cash flow forecast that you had last week is not going to be the same as the cash flow forecast that you need this week. What are the benefits of doing a cash flow forecast? Okay, so of course, you want to be able to see what's likely to be in the bank in a month's time, in 2 months' time, in 3 months' time. Absolutely you do. But also one of the other benefits of a cash flow forecast is you're going to know where you are. It's going to give you reality. If it's written down, it's going to show you reality. The worst thing is having it in your head and trying to figure out what the cash is going to look like. Because let me promise you this, it's probably you're going to make it worse than it actually is. So get that cash flow forecast down on paper. Clients that are on this call with me right now, if you're struggling with your cash flow forecasting, let me know. I've got some amazing, very simple cash flow models that I can give you that you can start to use straight away. And by the way, if you continue to use cash flow forecasting after this crisis, and the only reason why you're doing cash flow forecasting is because of this crisis, would this crisis have actually been a good thing for you? Because if this is the only thing that makes you do cash flow forecasting, the answer to that is patently yes. So make sure that you're really looking at your fixed expenses, your variable expenses. Chase down all debts and client payment terms. Have a look at those, chasing down old debts. If you need to get some help with that, there's plenty of people out there that can give you some outside advice and help on that. Be conscious about any new debts or credit risks you might be taking on, or clients that are already at risk. We're talking airlines, event companies, restaurants, these sorts of guys at the moment. It's so sad to see this happening to these guys, but you have to take a thought for a moment about how can you protect yourself. Maybe think about discounts for cash up front. Remember, cash is king at this moment in time. Your supplier payment terms. Can you extend your payment terms with any of your suppliers? Don't forget, communicate them with compassion, professionally, assertively, but it is a good time to maybe think about having a chat with some of your suppliers and see if you can extend those terms. Maybe payment holidays might be an option for you. No unnecessary new spending. I mean unnecessary new spending. Don't stop spending, because if we all do that, we're all going to die. Use old stock, maybe stop buying new stock that's not needed. Don't stop spending on things that will help you grow. Your investment in winter will pay massively in spring, and there'll be so many new opportunities on the other side of this. Don't stop marketing. Just change up your marketing. I'm going to give you more on that later. Invest in you, your education. This is the best time of your life for some of you to learn more. And if you want to earn more, you're going to have to learn more first. So ramp up your learning. There's an expression, I think it was Henry Ford that said it. Don't slash the tires to save on petrol. Keep on marketing and selling throughout this crisis, because you may well find that you get opportunities that you didn't expect to get. And more importantly, you're going to put more people in the funnel. So it's going to make your life a lot easier when we come out of this on the other side. Next, extend credit. Get it now while they're still lending, guys. Okay, there's absolutely no point in not doing it. Where you can extend credit, where you can, do it now while they're still lending. Get money even if you don't need it right now. You don't know what the situation is going to be in a couple of weeks. If you can get some credit right now, do it. And I'm not just talking about business credit, I'm talking about personal credit as well. Has anyone on the call already done this? Can you raise your hands if you've already done this? If you've already extended credit or gone and got some more? Right, yes, we've got quite a few people on the call already who have already done that. In the chat box or the question box, any of you guys who just raised your hands, have you got any anything that you would like to share with other people on here that you think might help them? Any of you guys that just raised your hands, anything that you want to share with anybody in here? You could let me know. So we've got, very simple to get a mortgage holiday. We've got 0% credit card offers are still there. Again, 0% cards for 29 months. Remortgage to release cash on a great deal. So listen, there are some stuff available out there. Renegotiate landlord terms and payments we've got here. Okay, so there's some best practice on here, guys. If you want to connect with anybody on this call afterwards and find out any more details, what we've got here, Experian pre-approved to not affect credit. What's that? Experian pre-approved to not affect credit check. CBILS, Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Schemes. This is from Harriet Gibbs. I'm going to put Harriet's details on this call later on, because she sent us a fantastic email yesterday with loads and loads of different ideas as to how you can get some grants and extra credit and stuff that businesses and banks are doing and other lending organizations. Time to pay schemes. Yeah, I'm going to come on to that in a moment. So listen, we're going to get into this in a little bit more detail in a moment about where you can get some money in extended credit. So we'll go into some specifics, and I'm going to share some links with you that you can look at straight after this if you're not sure about it. Okay, thanks for your interaction there, guys. I really appreciate it. Overdraft loans, take advantage of cheap rates at this moment in time. I think they said yesterday that the rates are going to be the lowest that they have ever been. Take advantage of holiday periods if you can get them. So it doesn't mean you're going to be able to run away from your financial commitments, but right now cash is king. So if you can get some holiday periods, fantastic. The VAT, POYE, business rates and repayment plans, I'm going to come on to those in a little bit longer, okay, in a short moment. At the moment, I'm just trying to get this moving forward. Thank you very much. Okay, step 7, staff cuts or changes. Okay. I know that this might be an emotive area for many people, okay? And this is something, but it is something that we definitely have to consider. Listen, guys, this is something for all of us here, okay? Pulling together, as I said at the beginning, helping other people, making other people feel safe, happy. You know, if we all do that, we can all look out for each other. The principle is that we all really want to be in a situation where everybody suffers a little rather than a few people suffering a lot. If you can keep that principle in mind, then as you go through the steps that you're going to be taking in your plan as a result of stuff that we're talking about here today and all the other stuff you're going to be hearing and learning about from other people, better that everybody suffers a little than a few people suffer a lot. Can people in your business reduce their hours? Can they go and work for supermarkets or cleaning companies part-time for a short period of time? I heard yesterday that someone is hiring 50,000 delivery drivers. If you've got delivery vehicles, can you get into the delivery business right now? Can you redeploy your team? Layoffs may need to happen, but you've got to take advice on this, guys, because if you don't have a layoff policy in your contract of employment, just because we're in a different time in history at this moment in time does not mean that employment law suddenly goes out the window. So you must take some advice. If you are a client on the call right now, in fact, I'll make this available to anybody on the call right now, client or no client. If you would like some free HR advice, we have an HR advisor on hand in our team that can give you some advice, 20-minute call with that HR advisor. Can I just see a show of hands if anyone would like to avail themselves potentially of some HR advice? Okay, fantastic. So those of you who are interested in getting some HR advice, we'll get that over to you. Also, there's also the other thing as well is, for those of you with teams, if you want to actually get some online advice, ACAS has issued some really useful guidelines. Some of the topics that the guideline covers, we're talking about statutory sick pay and self-isolation, suggestions on how to manage your employees in a situation where temporary closures of the business is necessary, and general good practice advice for managing the health and safety of employees during the crisis. So if you go to the ACAS website, you're going to get loads of information from those guys as well. I've put the web address up on there, and we're going to be sharing the links with you afterwards. Okay, let's move on. So planning to work from home. Obviously, this is now something that looks like many of us are having to do. So what are the things that we need to cover here? Technology. What technology are you going to need to have? So look at the technology you currently have. Is it adequate to work from home? The first solution is generally a VPN, a virtual private network. And the second is providing access from a remote PC using MSP Anywhere. I've put a link up there as well, which we'll share with you. This is a great client of ours who are fantastic at this stuff. Please bear with them because obviously they're helping an awful lot of people at the moment. But if you go to www.ccs2000.co.uk, you can get loads of advice on what kind of things you're going to need to do, the equipment. Don't leave it too late. There's been a shortage of a lot of technology equipment out there because there's been a rush to buy it. But listen, don't leave it too late. Make sure that you've got the right kind of technology for continuity, for working from home. We don't know how long we're going to be working from home. It could be weeks, could be months. I don't believe it will be, but don't forget, we've got to plan for every scenario and hopefully, you know, just hope that it's going to be better than we think it will be. Keep the meetings going, but please don't stop doing your meetings, guys. I've heard far too many people saying, I just had to cancel all my meetings. For goodness sake, use Skype, use Zoom. You know, this technology is absolutely fantastic. You know what? For many of you, when you come out on the other side of this, you're probably going to find that you're going to save yourself a fortune in fuel and coffee and parking charges, because Zoom and Skype are a fantastic, efficient way to get loads more of your time back. Okay, really, really good way to do meetings. So please do it, and don't forget you can have group meetings with this stuff. Zoom is free for the first 40 minutes. So if you're worrying about committing to a regular payment to Zoom or Skype, don't worry about that stuff. You just, do you know what? For most of us, it'd be a good thing to keep our meetings to less than 40 minutes. Use cloud technology if your business is not server-based for live document updating. Again, I know many of you on the call will already be doing this stuff. If you're not, when would now be a good time to start using cloud technology? I know it's been with us for a while, but it's amazing. It saves time, it saves effort, it saves energy. So it's a great thing to start improving your systems and technology right now. Use all of these things, these measures that you're going to have to do in the next 90 days. Use these measures as a good excuse to improve all these things in your business, not just for the next 90 days, but forever. Of course, you need to go into offer. If you've got a team, you're going to have to offer home working to your team. Make this part of your plan, but also make the rules of the game really clear when it comes to working from home. It may well be that they're not used to working from home. Make the processes extremely clear. Use frequently asked questions and a communication policy to communicate with stakeholders. Get your teams using a default diary. Their scheduling and using a cloud calendar is going to be really important. Sometimes when people start working from home, it's the environment that they usually sat at home in their comfortable clothes. Don't do that stuff. Use it. You make sure that there is a routine. Make sure that that they understand that this is the same as working from your office. And maybe you want to introduce things like daily frog sheets. Sorry if you're not a client of mine and you don't know what a frog sheet is. Basically, think to-do list or activity plans. Maybe using things like Asana or Trello might be useful as well. Again, if you're not aware of those technologies, go research them. But that will really help you manage projects. And also, it will really help you to keep people accountable. You've got to keep people accountable because there's going to be so many distractions for them when they're at home as well. But you need to keep them, as much as anything, busy for their own mindset's sake, and also keep them productive to help you get through this stuff. We were talking to a client just the other day about, how could you potentially redeploy your team? And we're going to come to it in a minute, but marketing, absolutely get them doing marketing for you. Get your team doing some marketing. They've all got social media. Maybe they've never done any marketing for you before on social media, but put a plan in place and get everybody marketing. You're going to have to multiply your marketing by tenfold, and it's really cheap. There's going to be some cheap things that you can do, some low-cost things that you can do to really up your game when it comes to marketing. And really important as well, if you've got home workers, you've got people working from home, get daily updates. An end-of-day report is a really great idea generally in business. If you're not doing it, start doing it now. Get those daily reports, end-of-day reports, really, really good practice to have. Next, online or deliveries. Okay, what do we need to do here? How do you change or adapt your delivery? Now, your delivery might not just necessarily mean physically, how do we deliver? In other words, home delivery. Of course, if you're a restaurant or a cafe, you don't need to shut. You could be offering home delivery because people still need to eat and they're going to be at home. And, not everybody likes to cook and, people are going to be occupied with lots of different things. Are we going to have to work harder and longer hours during this crisis? Yes, we are. I did a 15-hour day yesterday. I'm sure there's more 15-hour days coming up, and I'm sure there's other people on this call who are doing exactly the same thing. Now is not the time for inactivity. Now that I wouldn't have had time to do any cooking yesterday. So of course, home delivery is going to be a great thing. You need to keep the restaurants. We want to keep our restaurants and our cafes busy. We don't want them to shut. So they may need to adapt their delivery, and their offering needs to be extraordinary in these extraordinary times. Can you take everything online? So, for example, we've shifted all of our coaching, including group, to online. So it's strange, but I'm not seeing any people right now. But I am, obviously, we are online, and our meetings as well are completely interactive. I can't get too many of you guys maybe speaking on this call right now because there's about 70 of you on the call, so it'd be difficult to do so. But what can you take online, and what can you do to really kind of leverage the technology that we've got there? Can you offer your services remotely? If not, if your business means that you still need to come into contact with people, you've got to think about how can you mitigate the risk of infection. I don't need to teach you this stuff because we're not going to be talking about, you know, how do we mitigate the risk of infection here. Follow the guidelines. It's simple as that. But make sure that you communicate and show due diligence. I would go over the top with this stuff rather than doing less. You know, we've been sanitizing all the door handles and communicating this with all of our, with anyone that's come into contact with us. We're obviously now minimizing contact because that's the government guidelines. But if all else fails, just make sure if you have to come into contact with people, communicate what you're doing to mitigate risks. Next, market and sell. Absolutely, we need to do this stuff. No, this is not a time to stop doing the marketing, guys. It might be a time to change the way you're marketing, and it might be a time to change the message for a short period of time, and maybe even the people that you're marketing to. But let's get into this because this is really important stuff. Now, I was going to do a whole piece here about lots of different hints and tips about stuff that you could be doing, coronavirus marketing plan, if you like. But this has grown so big, I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it in today. So what I've decided to do is I'm putting together a guide, which is 6 low to no cost marketing strategies that you can use during the coronavirus. I'm going to be working on that and releasing it next week. If you feel that that might be of interest to you and you'd like to get a copy of that, can I see a show of hands right now, please? Raise your hands if you would like to receive that. Okay. Okay, fantastic. So we'll get that to all of you. Thank you very much, guys. Right, let's talk about first and foremost the sales cycle. Think about who is in your sales cycle right now. Is there a way of getting those people over the line? Look at your pipeline. You might need to change the quotation. You might need to change the terms. You might need to do something. You know what? Right now we said cash is king. Some of you just need to think break even. Others of you, you need to think contribution to overhead. Okay, thinking contribution to overhead, because anything that's coming in right now is a contribution to your overhead. But think about that sales cycle. Who's in it right now? How can we get more sales cycle, and for what sales in the cycle now, and for what products? Think about the products that may be most in demand that you're currently selling. How long to get new prospects in the sales cycle, and once the sales cycle finishes. So it's a good idea to work out what is the average gestation period from prospect all the way through to sale, and have a look at what that cycle looks like right now. Is there any way that you can shorten that cycle? But be aware of the cycle, especially for your cash flow forecasters. In an economic crisis, I'd say that marketing should be the first thing on the agenda. Keep going. What needs to change? Think about it. How can you be more effective or efficient with your marketing? If you've not been big on social media, when would now be a good time to start doing that? If you're the sort of person that says, well, I know that social media should work for me, but I maybe do 1 or 2 posts every now and again, this is the time to ramp it up. Absolutely ramp it up. But don't forget, the most important thing with any lead generation, be really clear about who you're targeting. You might, for now, change your targeting. You may actually say, well, actually, let's start targeting some of the people who are booming through this crisis and start targeting our products and services to them. If not, if you're thinking about your regular target market, at the very least, you'll be putting people in the funnel right now, even if they don't want to buy from you right now. Marketing isn't just about getting quick hits and instant responses. Marketing is about nurturing people. So the more people you can put in the funnel right now, the better it's going to be when this crisis is over. As I say, I'm going to be releasing that guide. So I'm going to do that over the next couple of days. I'm hoping I'm going to get that out to you by Monday. I'm going to be working on that all over the weekend so that you can get that stuff from me next week. To our clients, we're also going to be offering you guys some extra assistance on your marketing during the crisis. I know some of you have put off some of the stuff that we've been talking about for marketing because you either haven't had time, or maybe not the inclination, or maybe you weren't quite sure about what you needed to do. Well, here's the good news. Because of isolation, because we're not going to be out on the road as much, and we're going to redeploy some of our marketing activity over to you. So in other words, if now is a really great time, if you want someone holding your hand through some of this marketing, then please avail yourself of the help of team members. Chloe, I think, sent out an email to everybody yesterday listing all of the different activities that our team can do for you and with you. And we're not going to do it for you forever. We'll do it with you for now, but once those systems are in place, then you can roll them out forever within your business. And we're more than happy to do some of that activity for you right now to help you get your message out there. So please do get in touch with us to avail yourself of that assistance. Also think, how are we going to keep and get new business? Your marketing will have to change. Think about how your marketing will be perceived by people in panic mode as well. Certainly don't be doing any kind of scaremongering or anything like that. You know, you're only going to be perceived in a bad way if you do. But think, more importantly, how do you want them to feel? What action do you want them to take? Think about those people who are not panicking. Who are they? What business are they in? Okay, what can you offer them? So in your question box, what are the industries at the moment that you think are thriving through this? In your question box or your chat box, let me know. What are the organizations, what are the industries that are currently thriving through this? We've got accountants, we've got HR, we've got insolvencies, supermarkets, Amazon, financial advisors, insurance, cleaning, personal insurance, food retail, cleaning, HR, delivery companies, supermarkets, FMCG, IT support, soap companies, tech delivery, logistics, business coaching. Okay, you're not wrong there, Melissa. We are finding that there are a lot of people who maybe didn't think they needed support before, but now are happy to admit that they do. Toilet roll manufacturers. You're absolutely right. So some of the home improvements I'm hearing, you know, home improvement is going through the roof because people are going to be at home. They're going to be doing more gardening. What else have we got down here? Discount retailers, car mechanics, motor mechanics, because people are actually choosing to get things fixed rather than getting new ones. Later down the line, removal companies. We've got vitamins, medical suppliers, Netflix. Not sure how you can supply things to Netflix, but that's a great suggestion on there. Yes, absolutely. Maybe private security companies, definitely delivery services, refrigeration, IT services. So great stuff there. Think about creating new offers and rates right now. As I said before, some of you need to think break even or at the very least contribution to overheads at this moment in time. Clients that work with me, you know that I call discount a dirty word, okay? It is a dirty word, but right now, you know what, needs must, maybe you need to discount, think break even, think contribution to overhead. You might need to come up with some amazing new offers. If you can avoid discounting, fantastic. Try and find things that add massive perceived value, but don't cost you a lot of money. So I'm going to be speaking to some restaurants later on this week, been looking at ways in which they can add massive value for something that maybe giving away some meals in the future when there's recovery, because what we want to then do is give those meals away and then turn those customers into regular long-term customers. But what can they also do right now? There's absolutely loads of things they can do because we're all going to still need to eat. In times of crisis, guys, knowing your numbers becomes even more vital. There's never been any excuse for not measuring your 5 ways and not knowing your numbers. But if you don't know your numbers, now is a great time to get really close to those numbers. Again, clients, if you need any help with that, let me know. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say measure your 5 ways, in other words, if you're somebody on this call who hasn't been working with us yet, then please get in touch. I'm going to be offering all of you an opportunity to have a complimentary strategy session. Now, this isn't a sales session, it's a coaching session. It's a complimentary coaching session just to get you through some of this crisis, some of the crises here that's going on. And we'll go through some of these terminologies like 5 ways and help you with that stuff. For goodness sake, guys, don't offer any longer credit terms though, okay? Don't be doing that to try and close sales. If anything, do the opposite. Get cash up front if you can. Remember, as I said before, cash is king. Okay, so what time are we on? Okay, we're doing okay. Repeat business. Okay, absolutely vital. The most vital thing is you keep your existing customer base. Retention is about relationship multiplied by results. So think, how can you overservice them right now? What else can you do for them that is within your power? There's a great book called Delivering Happiness about Zappos. And even in times outside of crisis, Their customer service was so good. They would do stuff that was completely left field. There's a story about a lady who couldn't get pizza delivery at 3 o'clock in the morning in California. And she drunkenly phoned a Zappos representative who said, I can do anything for you. And guess what? He arranged to send them pizza. And so listen, you've got to over service, over deliver. If ever there was a time to go the extra mile, think, how can I go the extra mile? Now is the time. Remember, give, 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 give. It will come back to you in abundance. Now is the time to create wows, guys. And now would be a great time for you to be brainstorming about wows that you can create. And don't forget, guys, it's really important that you take all of these things forward when everything is over and done with and the crisis is gone, because these things are going to help grow your business anyway. Putting more into the emotional bank account with your customers is probably going to be more important than putting stuff in your bank account right now. Okay, so just build those relationships, blow them away, show them how much they care. If we all do this, guys, we're all going to be okay. Communicate what you can and can't do with your products and service product-wise. Your cleanliness routines, your protocol, we talked about that. Think about re-engaging with past clients as well. Again, I know that this stuff might be obvious because, you know, we've talked about it so many times. How can we re-engage with past clients? If you've not had time to do that before, now might be a really good time to do it. It may well be that some of your competitors who they're working with have already gone under or have just gone into hiding and gone into hibernation mode. This has got to be a great opportunity for you to go back and reconnect with some of those past clients, and also prospects that you've got in your database who didn't buy from you in the past. You know, go and see what's happened to them. Are they buying from somebody else? If they are, what's their experience with those other people? Can you do something to attract them to your business? Think about delivery. What's consumer confidence in your market right now? You know, is it high? Is it low? How would disruption in the supply chain affect your team and your delivery? Got to be thinking about these contingencies, having contingencies for these things. So think about those scenarios. And how could you deliver the same service with less team? Step 12, common sense and compassion. Simple. Over deliver on customer service. I've already mentioned it. Advice is clean, don't touch. Provide sanitizer. Put people first. Right now, never been a better time. If you're a task-orientated person, find your high I or your high S. What can you do for other people? What can you do to motivate, influence, and keep people happy? Be nice, take a chill pill, don't panic, plan, and don't buy too much of anything. You know, if all we ever do is panic buy, we're being selfish. It means there's nothing left for anybody else. That's not going to help anybody. Here's some practical stuff as well for you to get help. I'm going to put some stuff up here as well, some links for you to go to. The government have already announced some extraordinary measures, but it's being updated every day. So I'm going to give you the link to go to the government website in a moment, but keep yourself updated. There's these things like the statutory sick pay relief, the 12-month business rates holiday, £10,000 of grant funding for all businesses. Now, there's £3,000 available if you're a micro business as well. There's lots and lots of help coming for most businesses in the UK. In fact, I'm hoping it's going to be for all of us. But please have a look at those things. The instructions about how you get hold of the £10,000 grant is a little bit shady at the moment, it's a bit shaky, but if you keep yourself updated with that, I believe it's going to be coming from the local council. It may well be that other people on this call have already got some more information on that. If you have, just please put it in the chat box and I'll share it with everybody else. Grant funding of £25,000 for retail, hospitality, leisure and business with property with rateable value between 15 and 51. Fantastic. Apparently there's more information from local councils coming in April. Fantastic. Thanks for that, Alistair. There's also the Coronavirus Business Interruption Scheme, offering loans of up to 5 million to SMEs throughout through the British Business Bank. There's the hotline, guys. 0800 line there is probably going to be rammed, so you might just want to go to the website. Again, we're going to send these links out to you straight after this webinar. There seems to be lots of advice and help out there. Also, one of my clients is in the personal protection business. In fact, a number of them are, and there are still companies who are offering personal protection insurance. It's still available. If you would like to find out about the personal protection insurance, It's not just for coronavirus. You will have to commit for a couple of years, but I've heard rates as little as £25 a month with a payout of £1,000 a month should you not be able to work. So if you want some more details on that, send me an email about it and I'll put you in touch with the people who can help you on that. Another useful person to know on this as well is Harriet Gibbs at Leonard Curtis. She's on this call right now. Hi, Harriet. And what we're going to do is obviously we're going to send out a link to her as well. Okay, so step 14 of 11. Amazing. We've got more than I was planning to do here. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Plan instead of panic, guys. 90-day plan that we're going to be doing next week is specifically about the coronavirus. It's your plan for the next 90 days. It won't be the only one I'm doing. If you can't make it next Friday, fine, let us know. We will do another plan with you over the coming weeks. I'm probably going to be doing maybe one a week, but please get in touch. If you can do the one next week, fantastic. It's all online, so no contact needed. Plan for a number of scenarios, remember, but don't think that it's going to be, don't make it worse than it is. Just don't make it worse than it is. Just plan for the scenarios now. That's your 90-day plan, and then just plan each day as it comes. Increase your rate of learning. There's never been a better time for you to be learning more. Learn instead of consuming the news. Turn off the news. Try not to be taking too much of that shit in. Prioritize business growth strategies. Learn and create. Systemize your business now. The hourly rate is massive. Okay, announce our next webinar. Next Thursday at 4 p.m. How to get 5 high-quality leads on LinkedIn every single month. It's going to be, Charlotte has already shared a link in the chat box on here. So if you want to sign up for that webinar, please do. And finally, to finish up, get with your action coach. If you don't have an action coach right now, I am going to be offering some free sessions for you. If you can make that plan with us next week, please do. Details will be coming straight after this. Clients, don't forget, avail yourself of the extra help from me and my team. We are going to be working tirelessly to help you through this process. And please get in touch and let us know what help you would like us to have. Non-clients, I'm going to be offering that free one-to-one strategy session. It may be an idea to get on the telephone before we do it, between 5 and 20 minutes, just to really get a focus on what that is going to be for you. But I'm going to be doing a minimum of 5 free sessions a week for the foreseeable future. And, whatever struggles you're having at the moment, it's you guys are leaders. And sometimes you've got to lead your people. And sometimes it's really difficult when you're a leader to have somebody to help you. So I know what that feels like. I've been through crises myself over the last 30 years in business. And I know how important it is sometimes just to have someone to bounce ideas off, to brainstorm with, to give you thoughts and strategies that you hadn't even thought of before, maybe to guide you or point you in the right direction and help you get, even if it's just to help you rant and get stuff off your chest, then I'm happy to do that. Every day, and after this session, start now. Every day, list 5 ideas that you need to take action on today. Focus on just 5 things, but do it every single day. As soon as you finish this webinar, list 5 things you need to take action on straight away. So question and answer time right now, and also follow up afterwards. Guys, can I just say as well, please, if you've got some value from this today, please share that value on LinkedIn. We are going to be putting this webinar up on our YouTube channel, the 7-Day Weekend, but we are also going to be doing lots more webinars over the coming weeks and months. And there's lots of people out there who are struggling and thinking that they just have to go on without getting any help. Now, I'm sure you can see for yourself, there's tons of people out there that are offering help and advice, but there's never enough help and advice. So if you can share this on LinkedIn, if there's anyone out there who you know that you think might really benefit from someone to sit outside their business and outside their own head at the moment, please let them know. So question time, either in your question box or on the chat box. Is there anything at all on here? Any questions that we might have? Let's have a look here on questions. Okay, so I've got a question on here about, can I clarify, is it £10 plus 3K if you're a micro business? No, I believe it's one or the other, Paul. However, as I said before, sometimes it's not all that clear sometimes it's not all that clear really what the advice is. So the best thing to do is to go to that website that I'll be talking about. Does anybody have any other questions on here that they want to ask? What's the definition of a micro business? I think you're probably talking about a solopreneur, let's say, you know. I don't know if there is actually a fiscal definition of what a micro business is, but I will actually go and find out after this. Steve, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming on the call. Anybody else that's got, listen guys, what I have got is I have got an afternoon, certainly in the next couple of hours. I've got some free time. If any of you guys want to give me a call, if anyone you want to send me any emails or anything like that, please do that. I'm more than happy to answer your question personally. And also, there's going to be some follow-up after this with some links and some other advice for you as well. And if you need anything, you know where we are. Don't forget, don't panic, plan, control your own thoughts, control your own mindset, and think about everybody. Make everybody feel important, safe, and happy, and then we'll all be okay. Great to have you all on this webinar today, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Stay safe.